So the day started off with a warm-up, a jamming session where we all got to know each other through the power of music. We then moved on to actually defining who we are as individuals, right? So who are we as individuals? What does it mean to me to be well and healthy as an individual? Who am I?
Words that come to your mind when you hear the word culture. Interconnection. Culture.
No idea.
No idea. Okay. Colors. Colors and food. Culture.
Language.
Personal meaning. Helpful. Personal meaning. Cyberbullying. Wow. Okay. The next word is...
We then moved on to define what that definition would be at a community level. But in order to do that, we needed to define what the community actually was. So we had a long conversation about defining this particular community.
I mean, how many of you would identify as Roma? Yeah? Okay. Maybe, do you want to stand up so we can see? If you identify as Roma. Yeah? If you identify Roma. How many of you guys would introduce yourself as saying, hi, I'm whatever your name is and I am Roma? So nobody's Roma? No. Oh, man. Okay, so then who are we? We need to agree. No, I'm not Roma.
We are Roma, but we are not introduced as Roma.
Am I going to put a stick on my head saying Roma? Melissa.
We not say straight away because we just worried that we're going to be not accepted, so that's why.
So nobody says hi, I'm Roma. And you
No.
can identify as that anyway.
But you could be Roma from anywhere.
You could be Roma from anywhere.
That's why you say I'm from Poland. Why you live the I'm Roma
Gypsy
from
Poland,
Poland.
for example.
Or I'm
We
Gypsy
were
from
Gypsy.
Poland.
Gypsy Poland or whatever. Okay. All right, okay.
We just say if we were like in the community, Roma community just now, and we introduce to us together, so then we say, I am Roma from Poland. So then the other person said, I am Roma from Slovakia.
Right.
Just if we are all Roma in one place, then
Okay.
we say that we are Roma. But if we go into some office or somewhere like that, we never say that we are Roma.
Polish.
We say Polish. I'm from Poland, yeah.
In the census, there's a box that says gypsy, right? Would you tick that box in the census?
Jako keď vypisuje sa formácií.
No.
Why not?
Because
Because we are not traveling gypsy, because then
we just wonder that we're gonna be not
gypsy.
accept. They're gonna look at us, you know, they're gonna put us on the side and like that. They're gonna discriminate us. That's why we're not putting anywhere that we are gypsy or Roma.
So you don't identify as that?
No. Many years ago, before the Union Europe, in Poland, in the passport, we had to put I'm Polish, but my nationality was, and we had to put Roma.
Yeah.
And also, when we was doing the passport, we had to give more photos passport, not like Polish people. So that's it, because we've been Roma, and that was a question. You're, where are you from? Poland. Your
Polish
nationality?
citizen,
Roma.
Nationality.
All right,
But
okay.
not now.
So it could have been as a stigmatization in the past, you know, and maybe that's where it's stemming from.
The stigma?
The stigma, yeah, because the previous maybe communism would have used it as a disadvantage, if you know what I mean. So that's maybe.
Okay, so I guess what I'm trying to understand, right? If I work for a health service, right, and I'm trying to like define a community, right, to make that service, the health service, better for that community, yeah. And if the service goes out and says, okay, we're going to make it better for the Roma community, you're all saying that that's not really going to work.
No.
No. Why not?
Because Roma doesn't really exist. The word is blurred. It doesn't mean. I don't know. I'm you know, that's my understanding.
Okay, cool. All right, so we're throwing Roma out because nobody's identified as Roma. Can we agree on what this community is then?
We are gypsies, we all gypsies, it doesn't matter how we talk, how we look. It's in our blood, and we're not gonna get rid of it, you know?
So that's great. So then let's call ourselves gypsies then.
Gypsy's gonna recognize another gypsy.
So are we going to call ourselves gypsies as a community?
Yeah, I'm proud to call
Okay,
myself
well
a
then
gypsy.
shall we call this community gypsy then?
Yes.
Are we happy to call ourselves gypsy? Yeah?
Because you were assuming like we're not Romas because we don't tell people that we're Romas, but in our hearts we are. In our homes we are.
That's great. Then let's call ourselves Roma. Why are we scared to call ourselves Roma then?
I'm not scared.
So then should we define ourselves as Roma? Yeah?
Yeah.
You guys all sat down when I asked. Are we going to call ourselves
Because you were
Roma?
asking about the papers and that.
No, I wasn't asking about papers.
Yes, you were
How do you
asking, so
define
that's sweet.
yourself? How do you define yourself?
I am a gypsy. I'm a gypsy girl. My old friends know. It doesn't matter where they're from. If they're from Pakistan, Scotland, England, whatever, they all know I'm a gypsy.
Accepted, don't know?
Brilliant. So are we, as a community, are we going to define ourselves as gypsy?
I can.
Yeah.
Myself,
Yeah.
I can.
Stand up if you're happy to identify this community as gypsy then. There we go. All right. So we have a definition for this community then. Yeah? Perfect.
When we finally agreed on what particular community we were actually working with, we then could decide what particular subjects related to health and well-being and equality this particular community wanted to talk about. So we came up with a service which would be co-produced called The Void, which was to tackle stress or to deal with issues of stress by coming together through creative community engagements, through singing, through music, through dancing, through coming together and yeah, just engaging on this particular issue. How might we cope so that we don't switch one maladaptive coping mechanism into another? Move from smoking to overeating or drinking to smoking, right? How might we support each other through that in The Void?
We're going to, in whatever language we want, or multiple languages, I guess, we're going to write down words for all of these. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the pens here, and if you guys want to just come in, and under each of these, just sort of freestyle in whatever language you want.
Drinking.
I oni to patrzą i później studiują, nie? Co potrzebne jest Romom, co nie.
Utrzymywanie.
So some kind of a service that kind of deals with the stress. So that, like, as you know, as we were all talking about, so that if we stop smoking, we don't put it with something else, like overeating. And if we so it's, I'm just calling it The Void. Yeah, does that make sense?
No, Jana.
Yeah? Does that make sense, Jana? All right. I'm trying to figure out if you need anything for this to happen. To get inner peace, to get compassion, to get the community spirit, to get the sense of belonging, to get the connection.
We need big gypsy party. Anything's gonna be happen.
Community gathering.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing, guys, so I think I've got this. I know that we wanting some sort of a party to kind of come together, and then over time we might be able to use this party, this mechanism, this coming together with music, with some food, with some dancing, to be able to talk about some of these things related to health. Yeah, does that make sense? Okay, cool.
Then we moved on to actually looking at the framework indicators and deciding which of these framework indicators were particularly important for this particular community. So things like optimism, they changed some of them. They wanted satisfaction instead of self-determination, I think. So some of them shifted a bit exactly as you would expect it to be. Some of them slipped off the radar and weren't as important to this particular community. We decided which ones we wanted, then we defined them. What does it mean to be healthy for this particular community? What does culture mean for this particular community? After we'd done that, we then had a conversation about how we would collect data, evidence, if you like, in order to show how this community would move from baseline, from here where we are now, to the void, addressing the issues that they're trying to discuss and tackle in that service that they would like to co-produce.
We had to collect data, right? Because this is what we're doing, you know, evidence, some would say. Where if you guys are comfortable in front of the camera, that's not a problem.
No problem.
No problem. What about, but you don't like surveys? Do you like surveys? Like,
No.
no? No surveys? So you wouldn't want to fill out a survey? No survey. Okay, we won't have a survey.
Yeah, c'est pas drôle.
Would you want to, would you, on a scale of 1 to 10, no, would you like a questionnaire? Like, no.
No surveys, no questionnaires. They wanted music. Filming, totally fine with filming, totally fine with the trust that they'd established with myself and with the cameraman and other people who'd been a part of this project from the start. Yeah. So we created the mechanisms in order to capture it. We also agreed how often we would engage, right? Quite happy to meet once a month to do the similar thing so we could track change over time as we move towards this. And then we looked at the outer layer. We looked at the policy context and we had conversations about the Community Empowerment Act and the context within this community, which this community is actually living. So we looked at the structural issues, the broader structural issues, and we looked at how might we deal with issues of inequality, how might we deal with issues of equity for this particular group.
The Roma people feel freedom when they can travel and do what they want to do, but they're still working, they're still doing the same things like non-Roma people.
Yeah.
So why they are put it on the side?
So when we were first co-producing the framework, for some of you were involved, self-determination came up, right? And when we were trying to define that for Roma people, what came up was to be self-determined is to be free. And when we try to understand what that meant, it actually meant being able to travel, like to be able to be free.
Yeah.
And actually how the people who we spoke to linked that to their health was that when they're free, they feel happy, right?
That's why we're making something like a Christmas party, because we're not making every week party, that was just a joke. So we make for Christmas party and we all meet there. It doesn't matter how age is he, how age is the woman or somebody. We just meet in there, and then we feel like that is our small gypsy country, and we feel very happy, and we feel the freedom.
Yeah.
So that was it. We applied the framework from start to end in one day through music, jamming session, and we all wrote lyrics over that. So a very full day.